Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric, and we have a really exciting episode for you guys this Friday, and that is because Thrill Drive 3, the Konami Python 2 arcade game, is now playable on a PlayStation 2 emulator via some work done by me and a friend of mine named Jensen from my Discord. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and that notification bell definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel and the work we do here, we got a Patreon link down in the description below as well. But this is not an April Fool's joke. I had an April Fool's video scheduled, but I'm so excited about this, I've moved that video back to next week, because this is legit. A collector sent me a hard drive image for Thrill Drive 3 from the DDR Bamani community, and in some work with my Discord, we were able to get this up and running so anybody can play it. It took us a good 3-4 days to actually get it executing correctly, and Jensen actually had to talk to the developer of this fork of the PCSX2 emulator to get the controls wired back into it. But here we are emulating Thrill Drive 3 on PCSX2, and it is playing perfectly fine. And that is absolutely incredible, because this game was considered lost/undumped by the MAME community. This is an unencrypted hard drive image, and because this is my channel and you know I love doing this stuff, in the description below there is a link to download the full package for this game, including the launch.elf file. It's actually called something different, but there is a readme file in the zip created by Jensen himself that describes how to get this up and running. And if you do want to play it and you run into any issues, just leave me a comment, because you know I'm going to help you guys get going with this. Now, it is not just as easy as clicking the executable and making it run, and most of the directions are in the readme file, but I will say you need to calibrate your controls before you start playing this game, and do follow along with the readme to understand how to calibrate them correctly in the emulator menus. But we need to actually go into the test menu for Thrill Drive 3, and as it's booting up, you're going to see it's going to say calibration equals bad. From there, you're going to hit the test button, whatever button you mapped your keyboard or controller to make that work, and you're going to go to IO check and calibration. I've already done the wheel, but just pay attention to the directions. For accelerator, it's going to say do not touch the accelerator, and then it's going to say step on the accelerator fully, depress whatever button you're using, hit start, and then release it. You will get an OK. And just follow along with all the calibration. Make sure you put free play on, it's just easier not to deal with coins. Go back to game mode, and you're going to be into Thrill Drive 3, and you're going to be able to control the cars perfectly fine and play the entire game. And how incredible is that? And I do apologize if I sound a little hoarse this week. I've got the worst seasonal allergies, but I did not want to push this any further as far as the video is concerned, because I wanted to get Thrill Drive 3 out to you guys. And just like my video on the original Thrill Drive, this is another absolute 10 out of 10 classic from Konami that I'm assuming 99% of people have never played before. I actually saw a PCB for sale on Yahoo Auction Japan last month, but it went for almost $800. And the reason that these boards are becoming rare is that in the DDR and Bamani community, one that I do not know anything about, the Python 2 is a coveted piece of hardware because you can swap any game into it for the rhythm genres. The only game that ran on this hardware that did not have anything to do with rhythm games was Thrill Drive 3, so I'm sure a lot of boards have been repurposed to run those games. And that's fine, because we have the dumps, and if I do want to buy hardware, I can make it work. But there's also directions on how to put a hard drive into an original PlayStation 2 and hook up a Python 2 IO board so you can control this game. So there's so many ways to play it, but up until about a week ago, it was not possible to play it via emulation, but here we are. And I love being able to bring this to you guys, because I really hope you play it and enjoy it, because these games are incredible. They play incredible, they look incredible, the crashes are absolutely incredible, and the games also sound great. So go ahead and listen to the soundtrack for like 45 seconds, and I'll come back and talk more about the review for Thrill Drive 3 and the process of getting it running. But enjoy!
高速道路に乗ってください。合流に注意してください。パトカーが接近しています。どこの車止まりなさい。高さ上昇。かっこよさ上昇。斜め以降はやめなさい。前方に注意してください。シートベルトをしていませんね。高速道路を降りてください。かっこよさ上昇。
I just love the soundtrack. It's perfect for an arcade racing game, and you get the announcer and the police and that Japanese voice talking about your race. And the fun part about this game is, even though it is Thrill Drive, it is slightly different than the Thrill Drive I showed you a month ago. This is a little bit more bump and run. It's more difficult to crash your car unless you really head on something, but you can definitely really just kind of sideswipe vehicles and move them out of your way, and it feels great like right there. But there are some spots that are really difficult because you can now throw your car clean off the road, and that's something that was not in the original Thrill Drive, and I really like it, and I love the animations as that car just flips end over end into that ditch. This is arcade racing perfection, just like I said for the original Thrill Drive. It is fast, it's intense. Once you learn the courses and get good at the game, it is absolutely spectacular to play. And it looks really nice too because it is just running on PlayStation 2 hardware, because the Python 2 is just a stock PlayStation 2. So much so that if you look up photos of the board, it is just a fat PlayStation 2 shoved in a metal case with an I/O board and a memory card that acts as kind of the encryption key. So it's really interesting that this never got ported over to the PlayStation 2. Obviously this is an unported playlist, but they could have done it. And you'll see there, the cruelest way to lose a race in any racing game is to see the finish line and run out of time, because I hit 2 cars head on. But this game has what I like to think of as 2 different modes. It has normal cars and it has heavy cars. This is considered hard mode. This 18-wheeler, I've never driven one, but I have driven some trucks before that are big, acts exactly like you would expect it. When you're turning the cab, that tank on the back does wild things. It's going to swing your car out and really be a massive pain in the butt to deal with. But when you understand how to move the vehicle, it actually makes the game feel like there's 2 games in one, because with the 18-wheeler, you can totally push things out of your way or get yourself completely stuck. It's not as much fun as using the standard cars, but once you've had a few races and you want to try something different, it is a ton of fun to play as that big gas tanker. And I will say, this game is chock full of secrets too. I'm not going to show you any here. There are a few in the README file, but I want you to discover them, because you can do a lot of different things, including racing as a rubber ducky. That is true. You can do rubber ducky mode, but I'm going to make you discover that one yourself. But again, I love everything about Thrill Drive 3. We get 3 really nice tracks, and there are some variables in the tracks that make them feel like there is more gameplay to be had. Obviously, this just being an arcade release, it's not the most fully fleshed out game compared to something that would come out on a console, but what is here is arcade racing greatness. It's so much fun to be able to bring these games to you, first the original Thrill Drive, and now to be able to give you a link to the image to run Thrill Drive 3 with an emulator and directions. It's what I love doing, because I want you guys to get excited about these games the same way I do, and boy, did I almost go off the cliff here. Thank God that guardrail was there, or else I would have been in the ditch. But that's what I love about games like this so much, is that you really do get to memorize the course. And hey, if you can jump a gas tanker on the streets in America, I am there for it. Now, what's left of Thrill Drive? Well, there's Thrill Drive 2 on the Konami Viper, and I need to modify my Viper board to play that, because there are no good captures of that on YouTube, and I'm going to be working on that shortly. But there is a Thrill Drive 4 that was released by Konami in Japan only, it seems like, and that just runs on a PC in an arcade cabinet. Now, I have not found a dump for that game yet, but honestly, since I've been dealing in Thrill Drive so much randomly, I'm definitely going to be looking for it, and when I find it and get it working, I will bring it to you guys as well, because I love doing this sort of stuff. I've always wanted to play the Thrill Drive games, and now I have played 2 out of the 4 of them, and Thrill Drive 3, the second game I played in the series, I can now let all of you play as well, and I love that, and I hope you enjoy it, share it around, and have some fun with friends. But as I mentioned earlier, each course has different variables. There's an easy mode, which is just going to be in the sunlight. There's a medium difficulty, which is at dusk and makes you see a little bit less. And then there's hard mode. In this instance, it's raining, and you'll see that I just drove completely into that bridge abutment, destroying my vehicle entirely. But this rain makes the road feel slick. I'm sliding around, I'm drifting. It is just hard mode for real. It's much harder than the hard mode with those 18-wheelers, but I love it because all of a sudden the course plays differently. You can see less. The controls are slightly more slidey on the back end. The ass end of that car just really wants to go out from underneath you, and it's great. And pro tip, sometimes you just have to stop and wait for trains to go by. I learned that. I thought you could jump them, but sometimes you just have to wait. I've never seen a racing game just make you completely stop your forward momentum and sit around. But yeah, that is Thrill Drive 3. Up until a few weeks ago, this was not playable by anyone except if you had an original arcade board, and they were extremely rare. But now, just click that download link below and you can get your Thrill Drive 3 on. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Big thanks to Jensen for helping me with this. I'll be back next week with a whole bunch of videos. But yeah, play Thrill Drive 3 on the house. Just don't crash your car today. Bye-bye.
パトカーが接近しています。